The first movie was described as kind of a Groundhog Day meets Scream, but then with the sequel, it's got a bit of a Back to the Future element added to it as well. Chris, how would you describe Happy Death Day to you?
It's a horror, thriller, sci-fi, rom-com, dramedy.
Your unique blend.
It's a blend. It's definitely a blend of hold on, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry, I got excited. I thought we had a little.
All right, start at the
Hey,
top.
always
Wait,
expect
it's a
the
blend,
unexpected.
sorry.
Chris.
30 more seconds.
The movie is definitely a blend of genres, but I think a lot of that is just sort of an extension of the main character tree, and Jessica Rothe's performance, because it allows us to kind of dabble in different areas, but it's all still part of a whole. It feels cohesive because it's very much driven by her character and her character's story.
Congratulations on the sequel. And Jessica, your character Tree has an almost cult-like fan base. What do you think it is about Tree that makes her so popular, and how people connect with her?
You know, I think it's the fact that she is just a badass. We get to watch her in the first film transform from this kind of you love to hate her, kind of very stuck-up, self-obsessed, self-absorbed sorority girl. But over the course of the film, she transitions into this total badass. And in the second film, we get to watch her continue that journey. And this is a girl who, instead of running away from a killer, will pick up an axe and run towards him. And I think that arcs like that, and also very strong female protagonists like that, aren't normally seen in genre movies, especially in the horror genre, and so I think people really connected with it.
Israel, without giving away any spoilers, what was it like to revisit your character Carter?
It was a lot of fun. My goodness, jumping back into that happy-go-lucky, optimistic thing wasn't too bad, but maintaining its integrity was a little more difficult than I thought. You know, it had been like a year and a half since we had been in these clothes and in this dorm room. So it was a lot of fun, but yeah, I don't know. We had a great crew. We had a great cast, and Chris really helped us out and guided us through all of it. So it was nice.
Jason, Blumhouse is known for its high-quality, micro-budget films that have been very successful. What's the secret to your success?
The first secret is working with great artists, and Chris is definitely, this is our 7th movie together, and it's very hard to find people who can make great quality and also commercial movies at low budgets, and Chris is one of those people. So the secret to our success is Chris Landon, and there are a few others, Lee Wanell, and a few others that we work with over and over again. That's the first thing. I would say the second thing is I'm very strict about keeping our budgets down, not for financial profitability reasons, although that's of course another great thing about it, but the primary reason is that it allows us to do whatever we want and to experiment and to try and make a movie that is rom-com, sci-fi, or
like nobody else would make
you could never do that
movie,
at a normal, at a normal price. You could never do that. So those are our. If we had 2 tenants, I would say those are our 2 tenants.
Well, I think with having sometimes a lower budget, it makes you think outside the box.
That's also another great benefit of low budgets. I think Chris might have more to say about that. He's like, you're making me think too much outside the box. But it does push the filmmakers to find very creative solutions for things. Although Chris.
Well, you
may
can't.
Have
I mean, I think
answer.
you can't rely on a lot of the sort of old tricks. I mean, you can't afford the giant explosions and all the CGI and all that kind of stuff that I think can be sort of distracting baubles that you can certainly pack into a trailer to entice people. So I think why people come back to Jason's movies is because there's a very the quality is in the projects themselves, and a lot of it's in the writing and the execution of them. And so I think that people understand that like there's a real effort there to tell interesting new stories.
The baby mask is so terrifying. What is one thing that scares you guys?
Anytime I'm running from anything and I just imagine somebody chasing me behind me, I'll go an extra 20 miles an hour because I get so scared.
Yeah.
So they're one of those.
I used to have really horrible nightmares when I was a kid, and I was convinced there was someone under my bed. And I think that fear kind of still lingers. So the idea of something in the dark where you can't see it, I don't like being in the dark.
It's ironic that the baby mask is so terrifying. Why did you choose this mask?
So when we were just starting to make the first movie and we were kind of figuring things out, my partner and I were pregnant, and I really had like baby on the brain, and it was in the back of my head, and so the guy who helped design the mask with me, like we kind of narrowed it down to a baby and a pig, because it had to be a mascot as well, and there's just something about the baby that just really clicked. It just felt iconic and weird and creepy and also still funny. And that was the other trick, was that it still had to kind of work both sides of it, like because the movie is balancing those two tones. And so the baby face really, it stuck. It worked.
And why do you think that people love horror movies?
It's just such a visceral experience. It's like going on a roller coaster. You get that adrenaline, you get that feeling of your heart beating so fast. And it's one of the reasons I really encourage people to go see, whether it's this movie or a different Blumhouse film or a different horror film, see it in theaters, because that communal experience of being terrified together and screaming and hiding under your chair, it's so much fun. And I think that that's the biggest thing that I feel about the sequel, is it's just a lot of fun.
If you guys were stuck on a loop and had to relive the same day over and over again, but maybe a good loop, what would you like to happen in that day?
For me, having just a really lovely day where nothing super dramatic happens, because then you can go and you can do different things in your day, but there's not like a life-altering thing. I think that's actually what Tree prays for by the end of the film. She's like, can I please just have a day where nothing happens and no one's trying to kill me?
I would find a hot day with a nice pool, and then a cold night. And it's all in one day, but then a cold night with a fireplace.
What if you
next
get
to it.
sunburned?
I won't be the next day. You know?
Well, we have had Happy Death Day. Happy Death Day to you. Do you think we could get Happy Death Day Tree?
We hope so. We hope so.
I hope
Chris
so
has
too.
an idea, so we hope we get to make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!